In this video, I'm going to tell you guys about my experience with the new Oblivity aim trainer. I'm not paid by anyone to make this, so it's my honest opinion. For those of you who don't know, I have a decent bit of hours on other aim trainers, so I have some stuff to compare Oblivity to, and I'm not anti-aim trainer by any means. Now, Oblivity's main selling point is their sense finder, and I'll go over that after I point out some of their other better features that I noticed in the trainer. Now, the first thing I looked at was their built-in playlists. They are actually really good. They aren't like made out of default aim lab scenarios, they're actually challenging for intermediate and advanced aimers. There's a lot of dynamic clicking and tracking and really precise targets, and it's just a lot better than what you'd find default in aim lab or even in Kovaaks. They're the kind of playlists I would play on Kovaaks on my own, and some are even harder than what I'd use on my own. Overall, I'd say these built-in routines are pretty high quality in terms of difficulty. There's also the question of what kind of scenarios they put in the playlists, and for this I'd say they actually did a really good job. They have some small, precise, and reactive tracking on their Valorant routines, and that's pretty cool. Anyone who watches me knows that I think reactive tracking is by far the best type of scenario to train for TAC FPS games. You're practicing your reaction time and your ability to make small adjustments, which are really the only two things you need other than good crosshair placement 90% of the time. Before I can explain more of Oblivity's features, I have to ask you to subscribe. Whether you're new to aim training or pretty experienced, I have a ton of tips on my channel to help you improve. This includes stuff from my experience, science, and the experience of top aimers. Like I have a video coming up sometime in the next couple weeks with Maddie Overwatch. If you don't want to miss this kind of stuff, you gotta make sure you subscribe, so click that red button. Now, Oblivity has a lot of nice built-in sense-based features. For one thing, they have a sensitivity converter. Is it any better than the free online ones? Not at all, but it can be a slight convenience over having to open a Chrome tab, but honestly sometimes the Chrome tab is easier. Now, this calculator does come in handy as Oblivity uses their own source sensitivity settings, not centimeters per 360 by default, but I think it'd be easier if they just switched to centimeters per 360 by default since they already ask for your DPI. I also want to talk about the level design and potential for community support. At the time I'm scripting this, Oblivity's 3 days old. However, I think it has the greatest potential for community support out of any aim trainer I've ever seen, even if it doesn't have a community yet. I put in about 3 minutes into trying to edit scenarios, and I was able to create a new scenario, and I was also able to try and create a new scenario from scratch. If you think that a scenario would be better if it had an automatic weapon, you can make that change with literally no experience. It's super easy to change target size, target speed, any edit that you can think of. They're all easy. In my opinion, this is the best feature on Oblivity and the main advantage it has to other aim trainers. I've tried making Kovaaks scenarios and aim lab tasks before, and it was really difficult. I couldn't figure it out, and when I did, it just didn't go over well. But Oblivity made it super easy, like they want anyone to be able to make a scenario with no experience. The same thing with their playlists too. Playlists are easy to make, easy to share, and it's easy to include custom routines too. They can be searched like they're on AimLab, you don't need some complex share code like Kovaaks, and they actually work unlike AimLab. In my opinion, this should be Oblivity's selling point, not some sense test. Now, the background texture isn't that bad, it's kinda cool, but you're stuck with the default, you can't change it. However, you can change its colors, you can change its crosshair color, and you can change the target colors. Also, the default texture, it's not bad for static or tracking. It's got some reference points, but they're not really obtrusive, but it's not great. Would I prefer Kovaaks customization? Definitely, but I'd say Oblivity beats AimLab in this, and it's honestly not bad. Now for the perfect sense finder, probably why you're here. It takes 4 days to give you your perfect sense. The game hasn't even been out for 4 days right now, but I'm gonna say right now, it doesn't matter. The data it compiles will give you the center of a rough estimate, but after a certain point of precision, your sense, it really won't affect your aim. I've said it before, I'll say it again. After a certain point, sense does not matter. If you're trying to pick between like 30 and 50, then that choice will make a difference, but a more precise sense won't. And even if you do want to try and figure out if 30 or 50 is better for you, then the pros and cons are really based on what kind of aim you're focusing on in game and what you want to do with it, movement and stuff. It's not something that a computer program will be able to tell you. But I mean, if you are new to FPS games, I guess the sense finder could help you out a little bit. However, this feature isn't useless. The testing actually creates one of the coolest sense randomizers I've ever seen. After each scenario, it'll change your sense, and with one button, you're in another scenario on a new sense. This is a really cool practice technique, and the scenarios are as long as you want them to be with the way customization works in this game. Now, good feedback is really important for making progress in your aim training. In my opinion, AimLab overcomplicates feedback and just confuses you and hurts your progress. Oblivity just gives you a score, no long drawn out report of nothingness, which I really like. Also has leaderboards, which are really important for making aim trainers more fun. Another pretty cool feature is that Oblivity has a built-in metronome, but again, it's a difference of a Chrome tab. So would I say Oblivity is better than Kovaaks? No, not yet. Kovaaks just has so much to offer. Community supported ranking systems, a ton of scenarios, really good scenarios, and just anything you can think of is already made. Is it better than AimLab? I'm really not sure about this one. Oblivity shoves real scenarios in your face instead of low quality ones. However, if you dig deep enough in AimLab, you can find some RA and Voltaic benchmarks and some built-in randomizers, and it's just so close, it's hard to say. However, I think Oblivity has potential to get a lot better. It's in really early development, and it's better than Kovaaks or AimLab were at this stage in their development, in my opinion. The sense testing sets it apart in the market a bit, even if it's not actually that useful, and I think that could lead to some community support in the future. Thanks for watching, subscribe for more aim training content.